They say breakups break you, but what if I told you this could be your biggest breakthrough? Right now it might feel like everything's falling apart. Your mind races, your chest is heavy, and you're questioning if he even cares. But let me tell you something that most people won't. His silence doesn't mean he's unaffected. It just means you haven't given him a reason to feel the loss yet. This isn't the end of your story. It's the rewriting of your identity. Most women are taught to chase clarity, closure, or connection after a breakup. But what if the most powerful move you could make is no move at all? No text, no chasing, no proving your worth. Because here's the truth. When you stop trying to be remembered, you become unforgettable. You're not here to be pitied, you're here to rise. This breakup isn't here to destroy you. It's here to redirect you to the version of yourself that he never fully saw, but is about to regret losing. And that's where we begin. In this video, I'm going to show you how to shift the energy, take back your power, and create such a presence in your absence that he'll feel this breakup 10x harder than you ever did. Not because you played games, but because you leveled up quietly. So if you're tired of crying in silence and ready to become the woman he can't ignore, not now, not ever, keep watching. This is where you stop being broken and start being unbreakable. Right after a breakup, especially if he's the one who ended it, it might seem like he's totally unbothered. You're crying, overthinking, replaying every moment in your head. And there he is on social media, posting, partying, maybe even dating someone new. It's infuriating, right? Like he just switched off the relationship and walked away clean. But what you're seeing isn't the full story. In fact, what you're seeing isn't real at all. Men process breakups differently. While most women feel the pain instantly and go through the emotional roller coaster up front, men often suppress it. He's trying to numb it, distract himself, avoid it altogether, because facing emotions head-on isn't something most men are taught to do. Instead of healing, they delay the grief. But here's the secret. Delayed pain hits harder, and when it does, it doesn't knock gently, it crashes. Right now, he thinks he has time. Time to play games. Time to test your boundaries. Time to explore other options while assuming you'll still be there, waiting, hoping, checking your phone every 5 minutes for a message that never comes. But what he doesn't realize yet is that you're not waiting, you're transforming. You see, when you go silent, genuinely silent, and stop reacting, something starts to shift. At first he notices your absence, then he questions it, and eventually he obsesses over it. Why isn't she reaching out? Did she move on? Did she upgrade? Was I wrong to leave? That silence becomes a vacuum. And men hate emotional emptiness they can't control. He's not feeling it now because he thinks he still has emotional power over you. That power is what feeds his ego. But the moment you stop feeding that ego, you pull the rug out from under him. When a man expects you to break, and you don't, that's when the regret kicks in. Not instantly, but inevitably. And let's be clear, this isn't about revenge. It's about letting reality set in. He'll feel it when he realizes the version of you he once had access to is no longer available. Not because you begged him to come back, but because you outgrew the old version of yourself who ever needed him in the first place. And guess what? That new version of you, the confident, calm, healed version, she's magnetic. Because you stopped chasing and started attracting. You started showing the world, and him, that you don't need anyone to complete you. That's when he starts to spiral. Not when you cry, not when you beg, not when you try to prove your worth, but when you stop doing any of that. So if he's not feeling it right now, don't panic. He will. When the noise settles, the parties fade, and the distractions don't work anymore, your silence will echo, your absence will speak. And when it does, he won't just feel the breakup, he'll feel the loss, and that's just the beginning. When the breakup hits, emotions take over, that aching feeling in your chest. It's real. The need to make sense of it all, to reach out, to understand what happened, totally human. But it's in these fragile moments that the biggest mistakes happen, and they often have lasting consequences that pull you deeper into the pain. The first mistake, trying to convince him to stay. Begging, pleading, or sending long emotional texts in hopes he'll get it. Never works the way you want it to. Why? Because desperation never equals attraction. It actually pushes him further away. The more you try to prove your worth after he's already chosen to walk away, the more you unintentionally validate his decision. Then comes the mistake of over-explaining. You want closure, so you keep reaching out, asking questions, replaying the last conversation, analyzing every word. But closure doesn't come from him, it comes from you. Every time you try to dissect the situation with him, you're handing over your emotional control. You're inviting confusion into a space where healing needs clarity. Another painful but common mistake: stalking his social media, watching his stories, checking who he's following, analyzing who liked his post. This keeps you emotionally tethered. You start building false narratives. He looks happy. He already moved on. She must be the reason. Meanwhile, he's living rent-free in your mind while you delay your own recovery. And perhaps one of the most damaging mistakes is reaching out just to be friends. Listen, trying to remain friends right after a breakup is almost always an emotional trap. It's an attempt to keep a piece of him, to feel some level of connection. But what it really does is keep you stuck. You're not giving yourself the space to detach. You're feeding your own heartbreak. Some women go the opposite route, jumping into a rebound just to feel wanted. The validation feels good for a moment, but then the emptiness creeps in, because no one else can fix the void someone else left. Rebounds often mask the wound, instead of healing it, and when the distraction fades, the pain returns even heavier. One of the most subtle mistakes: waiting. You think if you just give it time, he'll realize what he lost and come back. So you freeze your own life, holding space for someone who may never return. You put your growth on pause, waiting for a version of him that may not even exist anymore. And in doing that, you abandon yourself. Here's the truth most won't tell you. Healing doesn't start with action. It starts with inaction. The power move isn't in chasing, fixing, or proving. It's in pausing, pulling back, and choosing you. That's where the shift happens. That's where the transformation begins. Because the moment you stop making these mistakes, you stop bleeding out emotionally, and you start rising. And the version of you that rises, she doesn't beg, she doesn't chase, she becomes unforgettable. Regret doesn't show up when someone walks away. It shows up when they realize what they walked away from. And the psychology behind that realization is deeper and slower than most people think. At the time of a breakup, especially if he was the one to end it, he feels in control. He believes he's making the right choice for his happiness, his freedom, or whatever reason he's convinced himself of. He's emotionally detached in the moment, not necessarily because he doesn't care, but because his mind is still feeding him the illusion that you'll always be there. It's what psychologists call emotional delayed response. It means he doesn't feel the consequence right away because your presence was constant, familiar, assumed. But here's where it shifts. The absence starts to speak louder than the presence ever did. At first he feels relief, then quiet, then stillness. And in that silence, the mind starts searching. Where did the validation go? Where did the constant check-ins go? Where's the woman who made him feel seen, heard, admired? This is where cognitive dissonance kicks in. He told himself this breakup was the right move, but now that emotional benefits are gone, he's left wrestling with conflicting beliefs. Did I really want this? Did I overreact? Was she actually good for me? The brain hates dissonance. It wants resolution. So what does it do? It replays memories, but selectively. Suddenly he doesn't remember the arguments. He remembers your laugh, your support, the way you made him feel like a man. Regret isn't just about losing you. It's about losing the version of himself he liked when he was with you. Now comes the killer part. Timing. Regret is often slow burning. While you're healing, growing, glowing, he's just starting to feel. Because his process is reactionary. He reacts when the absence becomes real. He reacts when he sees you're not affected the way he assumed. He reacts when he realizes he can't access your energy anymore. And it's not always about wanting you back. It's about realizing he lost something he didn't fully value until it was gone. Regret is rarely about the moment of the breakup. It's about what follows: your silence, your transformation, your refusal to lower your standards just to be close to him again. Men are often taught not to express vulnerability. So instead of admitting regret, they'll suppress it, distract from it, date to avoid it. But that weight grows, quietly. He starts comparing. He remembers the depth. He realizes what he had wasn't ordinary. It was rare. And when he realizes you're no longer trying to prove yourself, that's when regret becomes undeniable. It's not your absence that hurts. It's your evolution in that absence. That's the moment it flips. So no, regret doesn't happen right away. But when it does, it hits differently. Not because you pushed for it, but because you let go. And in doing so, you became everything he didn't know he'd miss until it was too late. Silence after a breakup isn't just the absence of noise. It's the loudest message you can send. And for men, especially those used to having emotional access to you, that silence cuts deeper than any argument ever could. When you go silent, you interrupt a pattern. He expects drama, messages, tears, or even just that one last "I miss you" moment. He expects some kind of reaction because your emotions used to orbit around him. So when there's nothing, no call, no comment, no curiosity, it sends a signal his ego isn't prepared to handle. You've detached. Words, no matter how intense, give him something to hold on to, a reason to feel in control. Even anger is a form of connection. When you argue or try to explain yourself, he knows you're still emotionally invested. But silence, it creates a void. And that void forces him to sit in discomfort with no one else to blame, no drama to feed on, no closure to twist in his favor. Silence removes the spotlight from him and shifts it back onto you. And that's what truly stings. Because if you're not chasing, it means you're not waiting. If you're not reaching out, it means you've accepted what is. And to a man who thought he could come back whenever he felt like it, that's a harsh wake-up call. Psychologically, silence triggers uncertainty, and the human brain hates uncertainty. It fills in the blanks with fear, doubt, and worst-case scenarios. Did she meet someone else? Is she actually over me? Was I not enough? And because he doesn't have your words to ease that anxiety, the discomfort keeps growing. You don't need to block him. You don't need to announce your glow-up. All you have to do is disappear from his world, emotionally, energetically, digitally. That quiet is haunting, because it says, "I've moved on," without you ever having to say a word. And the truth is, that silence speaks louder than any goodbye ever could. There comes a moment, after the crying, the silence, and the overthinking, where you stop asking why he left, and you start asking why you kept forgetting your worth in the first place. That is the shift. That's the beginning of reclaiming your value, not for him to notice, but for you to remember who you were before the heartbreak tried to define you. Reclaiming your value isn't about changing who you are. It's about coming home to yourself. It's the moment you realize you don't need validation from someone who couldn't see your light when you were standing right in front of them. It's about no longer settling for breadcrumbs when you know you were built for more than being someone's backup plan or emotional safety net. When a woman reclaims her value, something magnetic happens. Her energy changes. She stops trying to prove her worth, and instead she embodies it. She no longer explains herself, chases clarity, or waits for someone to choose her. She becomes the one who chooses. And it's in this quiet, powerful shift that men begin to feel what they thought they never would, the real loss. Because the version of you that accepted the bare minimum is gone. The version that stayed quiet to avoid conflict, gone. The version that overgave hoping to be loved harder in return, she's not here anymore. The truth is, value isn't just about confidence, it's about boundaries. It's saying, "I love you, but I won't lose myself for you again." It's honoring your feelings, your intuition, and your growth. It's recognizing that if someone made you feel like too much, it's because they were never enough to hold the depth of who you are. This is where the glow-up begins, not just in appearance, but in energy. You stop texting first. You stop stalking his social media. You start investing in yourself, your peace, your goals, your healing. And while he may not feel the sting immediately, he'll notice the shift. When he finally reaches out and gets met with calm indifference instead of chaos, it hits different. Because now he's no longer dealing with the woman who tolerated confusion. He's facing the woman who refuses to entertain it. And the best part, reclaiming your value doesn't require his acknowledgement. It doesn't depend on closure. You don't need him to say, "You were right," or "I messed up," because you're not doing it for him. You're doing it for the version of yourself who once forgot how powerful she truly was. This is your comeback, not to prove a point, but to reclaim the crown you never should have taken off. You were always the prize, you just finally remembered. The moment you stop chasing, the energy shifts. The dynamic flips, because in every relationship, even the broken ones, there's an unspoken power exchange. And too often after a breakup, women unknowingly hand all their power to the one who walked away. But here's the truth. You can take it back without saying a word. Flipping the dynamic doesn't mean playing games. It means getting out of the emotional quicksand he left you in. It means no longer reacting to what he's doing or not doing and focusing entirely on what you're becoming. The first step, stop feeding the loop. Every time you text to check in, stalk his stories, ask mutual friends what he's up to, you're giving him emotional confirmation that you're still orbiting his world. But the second you pull your energy back and stop participating in the story he wrote for you, he's forced to sit in the silence of your absence. And that silence, that's where the flip begins. Suddenly, you're not the predictable one anymore. You're not waiting around. You're moving different. And whether he sees it on social media or senses it energetically, he knows you're gone in a way he didn't expect. That unpredictability makes you magnetic again. Not because you're trying to get a reaction, but because you've stopped needing one. The next part of flipping the dynamic is living in alignment with your highest self. You stop wondering what he's thinking and start asking what you need. You pour into your body, your mindset, your purpose. You surround yourself with energy that reflects the version of you that isn't broken but rebuilding. And when you do this sincerely, not to provoke but to evolve, you become emotionally unavailable to anyone who doesn't match that frequency, including him. That's when he feels it. That's when the fear creeps in. What if she really moved on? What if I can't get her back? That fear rewires the dynamic entirely, because now the person who left is the one watching, wondering, regretting. He starts reaching out, liking your posts, asking mutuals about you, not because you said anything, but because you changed the script. You went from being the one who needed answers to the one who doesn't even have the time to ask the question anymore. That confidence, that peace, it's rare, and it's irresistible. This is how you flip it. Not by making him pay attention, but by becoming someone who doesn't need his attention at all. Because when a man realizes you don't need him anymore, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that's when he wants you back the most. But by then you're not the same woman he walked away from. You're the one who flipped the dynamic, reclaimed the power, and redefined the story. And this time you're not handing it back. It doesn't hit him right away. At first he's free, no more texts, no more expectations, no more emotional responsibility. He's out with friends, laughing, maybe even dating someone new. On the surface, he looks fine. And that's what hurts you most. You're drowning in emotion, and he's floating like nothing happened. But what you don't see is the slow shift happening beneath all that performance. Because regret doesn't strike loud. It creeps in quietly, and when it hits hard. It starts with curiosity. He checks your profile, not to talk, just to see. Are you okay? Are you hurting? Are you waiting? Then he sees something he didn't expect. You're glowing. Not the kind of glow that's forced. The kind that says, I've been doing the inner work. You're smiling differently. You look lighter. You're surrounded by peace. And in that moment, something in him breaks. Because now he's realizing, you didn't break. This is when it starts to hit him, 10x harder than you ever imagined. The emotions he thought he buried, they resurface with a vengeance. Only now, you're not there to soothe them anymore. He thinks about texting you, but something stops him. It's not that he doesn't want to. It's that he doesn't know how. Because the version of you that would have answered right away doesn't exist anymore. And that scares him more than anything. He replays moments in his head. The times you were soft, patient, loyal. The way you supported him when he didn't even ask. The energy you brought into his life that no one else has since matched. That's when he realizes it wasn't just comfort you gave him, it was peace. And now that peace is gone, he starts comparing, not because he wants to, but because he can't help it. No one laughs like you. No one listens like you. No one feels like you. And the more he tries to replace you, the more he realizes he can't. He didn't just lose a girlfriend. He lost a woman who loved him in a way he didn't know how to receive. The timing of this regret is what makes it 10x harder, because by now you've healed, you've grown, you've risen. And even if he did come back, you're not the same woman anymore. He doesn't get to meet you again in the same place, because you've already moved forward. This is the moment where silence becomes his punishment, not yours. Because when a man realizes the door is closed not out of anger, but out of peace, that's when it really hurts. When he finally sees you don't hate him, you've just outgrown him. And the weight of that, it's heavier than any breakup text, any goodbye, any we need to talk. That's the pain of knowing he had the real thing, and now it's gone for good. Moving on is good, but leveling up, that's transformation. That's when you stop trying to get over him and start becoming the version of you that never tolerates being underestimated again. This is your closure. Not the message he never sent or the apology you never got, but the decision to become unavailable to the version of life that kept you small. You don't owe anyone an announcement. You don't need to prove how well you're doing. True elevation is quiet. It's felt, not flaunted. It's in how you carry yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you no longer shrink to be digestible to people who couldn't handle your fullness. The real glow up doesn't start with revenge. It starts with self-respect. It's found in the gym when you're training your body and your mind. It's in therapy, journaling, traveling, building, resting, learning to sit with your emotions instead of reacting to them. It's found in choosing peace over chaos, even when chaos is familiar. Because leveling up isn't about showing him what he lost. It's about becoming the woman who never waits to be chosen again. It's about breaking patterns, rewriting your narrative, and finally seeing yourself as the prize you've always been. And here's what makes that powerful. You're not doing it to win him back. You're doing it because you finally see that he was never the destination. He was just the detour that led you back to yourself. So don't just move on. Level up. Make your life so full, so meaningful, so magnetic, that even your past regrets can't touch you anymore. Because the goal isn't just to heal, it's to evolve so far that the old version of you wouldn't even recognize what you've become. And when he looks back, he won't just miss you, he'll realize he never even knew the woman you were becoming.